Hi, my name is Becky Jennings, and this is the ResponseABLE Parenting Podcast. I give you the transformational tools to stop reacting to your children in the moment and start responding with intention.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode. This is the ResponseABLE Parenting Podcast, and my name is Becky. I'm your host. Today, I want to talk about a really big aha moment for me with my older son. Something that I talk about regularly to my clients is to parent the child right in front of you, not the child that you wish they were or that would be more convenient to you. And there's a very specific moment that happened with my older son that really brought this to light. And I want to let you know that you are not alone. Like, I'm still working on these parts of me very actively. I'm still undoing a lot of the expectations that I have about or for my children. I'm undoing a lot of the beliefs that I have about how children should be. So you're not alone in this process. And a big reason why I do this podcast is I feel like every day that I do a podcast, I actually parent better on those days. Every day I listen to a parenting podcast, I do better on those days because I'm just more aware. I'm more conscious of my triggers. I'm more conscious of why. And it just, I don't know. This is why I'm sharing this story with you today, because just in case you're having this moment where you're just feeling like you don't get it, you don't understand why they're doing what they do. And this just kind of maybe gives you a little bit of a pause and a little bit of a reframe. So my son loves the Mark Rober engineering boxes. They're so cool. And they come with little batteries and wires, and he gets to create machines that move or that have motors. It's so cool. And I get very precious with the creation that he makes. It's like he's done this incredible process. He's gone through such hard processes. He's made a car that's moving, or he's made a, a rocket launch. It's just the craziest things. And he's made them. And then he immediately wants to take them apart. And something in me, it crushes me. I'm like, why would you want to take apart such an incredible creation? Why wouldn't you want to play with it? Why wouldn't you want to show off to, your friends this cool thing you made? Why would you want to destroy it? And I think the more that I start to unpack this stuff is that I grew up with not a lot of money. And the things that I got, I held so precious. Like, I didn't want anything to happen to them. They were so important to me. And I was talking to my brother about this morning because my brother he's like a computer genius. He's very technically savvy. He can build and draw and create anything. He just got so many creative gifts. It's kind of unreal. And I texted him this morning and I said, just curious if when you created something as a kid, did you ever take it apart? Because I know he really, he holds things very precious as well. And he said, absolutely. It was more about understanding the process. It was more about being creative. It was more about figuring out what I could do with this stuff than it was about the actual item at the end. And it was such an aha moment to me because I was trying to instill a value within my son about taking care of your stuff, holding on to these things and valuing them, because once they're broken, they're gone. And I had to switch my perspective because it wasn't about that. It's not about that for him, because the next iteration, the next creation that he makes is equally as precious to him. And I realized that I wasn't parenting the child in front of me. I was parenting for the child that I wanted him to be, which was a child that kept things important. Like, he will make an entire Lego creation, one of those huge, 1,000 box pieces or sets. And I would just, in my head, I would put them on a shelf and look at them and be like, see? Look at this amazing work that I did. But he likes to break it down the second it's done. He wants to tear it apart and create a new thing. He wants to see if he can turn this house into a rocket ship. He wants to take the wings off the Star Wars ship and create something completely different. And I look at him pulling these things apart, and parts of me start to like catch on fire inside. It feels like I'm just like, oh my gosh, why are we breaking this? But to him, that is like the exciting part. He knows that he can do it. He's checked the box in his head of, I can complete this. I can follow all the steps. I know I can recreate it if I needed to. If I really desperately wanted to, I could make that castle again. I could make the rocket ship again. But for him, the excitement of building and creating and seeing what he can do with the pieces that already existed for something else is so much more important. It was just so freeing for me in a way to not have the pressure of sustaining this back and forth with him, of not feeling like I had to keep him on a track of treating things precious so that later on in life, he's treating his cars precious. He's treating his home in a respectful way, because they're not correlated. And it was a really wonderful moment for me to be like, this is a me thing. This is something where I keep my stuff really precious. I keep my things neat and tidy. I keep the things that are brand new and special to me in a sacred space. But for him, what is sacred is the process.
As we know, it takes a village to raise our children, but more and more, we are doing the entire job on our own. And that stops today. I have created a parent community app focused directly on giving you essential support tools. The ResponseABLE Parenting Community Group is available now. In this community, you will have more parenting strategies right at your fingertips. You'll have direct access to me and my coaching every month in our live Q&As, where you can bring your burning parenting questions and get my real-time support. I will host monthly exclusive workshops, facilitate weekly skill-building exercises, and more. This space is designed to meet you where you are at on your parenting journey. It's a judgment-free zone with parents and caregivers who are learning and growing right alongside of you. For less than $1 a day, you will have access to exclusive parenting content and coaching. I cannot wait to be a bigger part of your parenting journey. Head over to ResponseABLEParenting.com to join today. Enter promo code PODCAST to receive $10 off your first month. That's PODCAST for $10 off your first month.
And having all of the pieces, he doesn't break and smash the pieces. He keeps all of those safe and he keeps those secure. It's just he gets to play with them and explore them in a really awesome way. And it just made me realize that his brain and my brain are different in that way. And that's okay. And now I get this wonderful opportunity to create a moment of collaboration, to be more curious about him, which shows him that I am interested in learning about what lights him up, versus another moment where I could take the role of a parent that's, telling him what to do, or, moving him away from what he's super passionate about to something that is more normal, quote unquote, or more appropriate. And I get to really lean in and just immerse myself in his creative world. And I get to love more of that part of him versus trying to suppress that part of him. And it's really cool because I feel like it's going to open up a new chapter of our relationship where I don't need to be in correction mode. I don't need to pose the storyline of, oh, but what would happen if, because I already know what would happen if. He's still eventually just going to be begging me that he's able to break this thing down. And the more I resist that, the more out of connection we are. And can I ask myself the question, is it really that important for me to make sure this Lego creation stays intact? No. That's just something bubbling up inside of me from a past belief about how to, make sure things stay intact. And can I let that go in order to honor the relationship that I have with my child, in order to honor the child that is in front of me versus suppressing something that could be so magical within him. To be able to see the same pieces in front of you and create so many different things, I should be leaning into that versus trying to have him just do what are on the pages, what the pictures are telling you to do step by step. If I can nurture that aspect of him where he can look at something and create so many different things, the possibilities are endless of what he can do in his life. And especially if he knows and he has the neural wiring of the storyline that I also support him in that, not that I've always tried to get him to stop doing that. It's just a better road and it's a better relationship. And it opens up so much for him too. So I just wanted to share that story about how it's so easy to bring our storylines into the child in front of us, especially if the child is acting differently, and it kind of sets off some of your spidey senses of like, oh, this doesn't feel comfortable. But for them, it's so exciting, and for them, it's who they are. And so just opening up yourself and asking yourself the question, is it necessary for me to put them on my path, or can I lean in to what lights them up? So that I can deepen our connection, so I can foster such a storyline within them of enoughness, of you can do anything and you have the full support of your parents. So I just wanted to share that. I thought it was a cool story to reframe. And I look forward to seeing you guys next week.
Thank you for listening to the ResponseABLE Parenting Podcast. If you like what you heard, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. If you know someone who would benefit from this podcast, I'd be honored if you'd share this episode with them. Until next time, know that you are enough, you are capable, you've made it through all of your hardest days, and we will keep growing on this parenting journey together. This podcast was produced by Kim Kelty and myself, Becky Jennings, and edited by the Kelty Method, Branding and Podcasting.